Comic Book Savant, Reel to Reel, movie review. Welcome back to the Comic Book Savant podcast. I'm your host, James Harris. This episode, we're going to be doing a reel to reel movie review, and this time we're going to be reviewing one of the newest DC animated releases, which is Batman: Soul of the Dragon. This is directed by Sam Liu, which he's directed quite a few of these animated DC animated features at this point. He normally focuses in and around the Batman part of the movies that they do. It's written by Jeremy Adams, and the breakdown for the movie is as follows. In the late 70s, a missing teacher of martial arts is the subject of a quest by his devoted and brilliant but distant students, who includes Batman. So the cast of this film is David Gattoli, which is doing the voice for Bruce Wayne and Batman. We have Mark Dacascos that's doing Richard Dragon. We have Kelly Hu as doing Lady Shiva. We have Michael Jai White that's doing Ben Turner. And we have James Hong as O-Sensei and Jamie Chung as Jade. So just going into this, I wasn't expecting too much when I saw it. I was like, okay, it was a throwback. Then leading up to when I saw the initial trailers for it, and I said, oh, okay, the trailers look, kind of good, better than what I thought. Then in between the initial announcement trailer, like teaser trailer, and when it came out, I had been on this big action movie kick, and I had been watching a lot of old just action movies from the 80s, 70s, just jumping around all types, all decades, just watching old action franchises and films. And I had watched the what's the Bruce Lee movie? Was it oh gosh, whichever one he's on the island with the mirrors, his big movie right before he died. I can't even remember what the heck the name of the movie is. I'm totally blanking out. But regardless, I had been watching a lot of movies plus old Bruce Lee movies, and this really fits into is it Way of the Dragon? Whatever. I'm blanking on it. Totally just bleh. Anyway. But to get into it, I had been in that whole vibe. So the more I saw of it, the more it put me in that vein, which was something I really wanted to pick up. I don't normally pick these movies up when they first come out. I kind of wait till they come out digitally, and then I get them at half price. So I waited, and I heard a lot of good, reviews being posted online. So I was even more stoked, and I have to say it was definitely well worth the wait. I've been saying this as of recently, if you've listened to most of my DC animated reviews, that the quality of the movies are just getting better and better. They really have gotten into a groove, and considering they do about 4 releases now, before it was like 2, then it was like 3, and I think they're up to about 4 a year now. They just keep getting better and better, and they're jumping around. They do certain stuff that was tied to or that are original stories like this, or then they are picking different stories, Elseworlds or in continuity stories, and doing adaptations of them. And they've been kind of knocking them out the park on both fronts on that. But to get into the bulk of the review, the voice casting for this film was pitch perfect. It's done by Wes Gleason. He took over duties, and he's been doing a wonderful job after the legend of voice directing, Andrea Romero, retired back in 2017. Wes Gleason came on, and he's had some missteps along the way, but he's only gotten better and really has done a great job. And doing what Andrea did from time to time was sometimes she would mix it up. We've had when they were doing the 52 kind of films, they had certain people do Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, but since this was an original story, he went in a different direction and put David Gattoli in that role, which I'm not mad at. He wasn't who I expected, but he did an admirable job doing this his own take on Bruce Wayne. He didn't try to do an imitation of anybody else's. He made the character his own. Jeremy Adams also, far as on the writing side, has quickly improved over the past few years. The first film that he had writing credits on was Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans, um, and which I didn't care for, but he's really backed it up with his next few, with this film as well as Mortal Kombat Legend Scorpion's Revenge, which was a really good movie that came out I think last year, which was really good. It had certain flaws in there, but you could tell he was a fan of the Mortal Kombat series, and he really, I don't think that was his fault. They focused on certain aspects over others. He has to, he has other people that he has to answer to, but you could tell he was definitely a fan, and he knew the lore and he knew the characters well, and it continues on with this as well. So I look forward to seeing where he goes next, but because he's quickly improving, and the more opportunity he gets, he can only just get better. Um, um, if I had to compare Jeremy Adams to any comic book writer, he reminds me of a Chuck Dixon. He's just great when it comes to writing just the great action-packed stories that will keep you engaged and keep you on the edge of your seat. And that was the first comparison once I saw this, and I thought about the Mortal Kombat movie, not so much for Teen Titans Go versus Teen Titans. It had a bunch of fight sequences and stuff like that, but that was just a jumbled mess of the silliness of the Teen Titans Go with the seriousness of the Teen Titans. The two styles for me just clashed more than anything else. That was the problem, that didn't make that move, that made that movie a miss for me. But that's besides the point. But he does, if I had to do a comparison, if you've ever read any Chuck Dixon, I feel like they're each other's spirit animal in that way. There's not much more I can say about Sam Liu. He has really become the cornerstone of the Warner Brothers animation in relation to the DC animated home video releases. He's directed 17 of them at this point. So, in more, he's every time if you look at his credits on IMDb, he's always attached to more and more and more. He never stops. It's like a constant thing. So, he's directed or co-directed 17 and more to go. And he did a couple for Marvel way back in the day when they were doing their direct release home video animated films as well. So I, probably at this point he's directed over 20 of these releases between the two companies. David Catoli, like I said, does a solid job balancing the role as Bruce Wayne and Batman, but giving them their both unique voice and tone. If they do any more films with this particular Batman set in this time frame, I wouldn't mind having him come back and reprise the role. His Bruce Wayne had a distinct voice. His Batman had a distinct voice without going full Christian Bale and be like, I am Batman. But he's definitely a different person with the cowl on, without the over the topness of something like what Christian Bale did. I love Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne and Batman, but that was a bit much. When you go back and watch that now, it just sounds downright ridiculous, but it worked for the time because it was different, and he had to do something to kind of separate the two characters so people didn't know, hey, that's Bruce Wayne talking to me, that it was someone else. He probably could have did like a voice modulator since they were grounding it in real life, but they didn't go that route, and he did the hard, gravelly, horse-inducing thing. That's neither here nor there, but David didn't do that, which I appreciate. And like I said, I wouldn't be mad to see him reprise the role if they do more films, and they kind of left it open towards the end of the film that they could do potentially more. I would like to see more with these characters together because it was really fun. It was nice also seeing the inclusion of Michael Jai White voicing the same character of the Bronze Tiger, aka Ben Turner, that he played in the live action Arrow series. That was kind of cool. We also had Kelly Hu, who unfortunately she didn't play Lady Shiva, but another character called China White also in Arrow in live action. And with these actors, one thing that I thought that was cool that they really did, Mark Dacascos is fluid in martial arts, Kelly Hu is, and Michael Jai White. So these are people that could easily do and play these same characters in live action and pull it off easily. So, maybe that would be cool. Like if they would ever to do something like that. So I would love to, to see it. I thought that was really a nice touch that Gleason actually went to cast actors with true real life martial arts backgrounds, like these three. Just an extra level of detail to be able to pull off the sounds, and so forth that you would actually have, doing these moves and when you would fight in martial arts. And they've competed and done different things and trained extensively for big parts of their lives in the martial arts. This movie is flat out fun and pays homage to the old kung fu and karate movies from my childhood that I used to watch Saturday afternoons after the cartoons went off. It was like what was it, Kung Fu Theater or something like that would come on USA, that they would show these fantastic karate and martial arts movies that again was a staple of my childhood, which was just the chef's kiss, just the perfect something different that I needed right now that was just pure fun. If you've ever watched any of those and you've seen a Bruce Lee film, that is exactly what you're getting with this movie, and it's executed very well. A super simple story with great action throughout that just keeps you engaged. Another thing I really liked about the film, that it had a more global presence. It was like kind of James Bondy because they hop to different locations just all over. Globe trotting is the word I was looking for. Because most of their movies are kind of small in scope because they're restricted to like one area, Gotham, Metropolis, etc., or it's space if it was like they've done Green Lantern movies. So it was cool that they globe trotted and we saw a lot of different places. This movie, I'll say this, didn't need to be a Batman movie by any means. It could have worked just as well if they didn't have him included. It was like a bonus that they included him, and it was a reasoning for it. It's a proven fact that the home video releases perform better when Batman's included or Superman's included, and the Justice League, because it's ensemble. Those are the three types that you see. That's why every year it's a Batman release, it's a Superman release, and they'll try to sprinkle in. It's growing to a point now, but it's a proven fact. If you see how they've performed, each one performed, you'll see that the ones struggle. That's why it was such a huge gap between the first Wonder Woman animated movie and the second one. It was like a 10-year gap in between the two. Even though the first Wonder Woman movie was phenomenal and the second one was just as good, it was a 10-year gap. They did two, I think Green Lanterns back to back, and we haven't seen one since. It's a shame that that's the way it is, but it's like the reality of business, which is unfortunate. But it seems like they're experimenting and expanding out a little more in what they're gonna drop, and because they've created with the quality of the movies, and they're slowly but surely doing original concepts and weaving in certain more and more characters, that it can open it up to maybe they won't have to every time. We could see some of these maybe Aquaman's totally separate animated film, not be Justice League with featuring Aquaman kind of thing. So time will only tell, and hopefully these other movies perform well. That's why at this point, even on movies I don't like, I keep buying them. I'll wait till they're half price. Don't get me wrong, I will wait, but I will buy them to keep supporting them, to keep putting out these films. Sometimes you got to put your money where your mouth is, and you can't just ask for change without supporting the change. So sometimes you just have to do it. Even a movie like the Batman The Killing Joke, that I hated that one extra part they added on to it outside the actual story, but I still bought it because I want to see more experimentation like that. And hopefully with that, when they all perform on an equal level, they can okay, now we can try Nightwing and do a movie on Nightwing, or I don't know, Doom Patrol. They have a live action, so let's do an animated one, or another Suicide Squad movie that won't have to include Batman in it. Things like that. So you got to put your money where your mouth is. Again, I hope Warner Brothers Animation continues to mix it up with these adaptations from classic stories to other experimental original concepts like this. And I feel like, as well as I feel like this could warrant a sequel or even a series of films, that they do, because this was just fun. So, get Sam back on track, get Jeremy to write another script and like go with it, because I like this air that they're doing in this genre. So roll with it. It's working. It worked. Totally got me hook, line, and sinker. So as I break down my rating categories, as always, acting 8 out of 10, casting I think was excellent, 10 out of 10, direction 9 out of 10, special effects / animation 8 out of 10, story 7 out of 10 for overall score of 8.5 out of 10. Definitely worth a buy or rental, but I mean now you can pretty much find this under $10 most places to buy it. Again, support. Definitely, I don't think you'll be disappointed if you like the DC animated movies. This is one of the better ones that I am more than glad to have in my collection. I think at this point, if I'm not mistaken, you can actually, if you have HBO Max, you can watch it on HBO Max at this point. I think it's on that platform, if I'm not mistaken. Check, make sure I'm not lying, but I think it is. But that's all I have for you guys for this review. As always, I hope everyone is out there staying safe. Until next time, you guys take care, and I will talk to you soon.